women, they have minds, and they have souls, as well as just hearts. And they've got ambition, and they've got talent, as well as just beauty. And I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it.
How does Greta Gerwig display her idea of feminism and society in her work? Greta Gerwig is an American actress and filmmaker who, prior to the release of her 2017 directorial debut, was most popularly known for her roles in 20th Century Women, Jackie, and Frances Ha. Gerwig started her career in the mumblecore subgenre of independent film. She then moved to collaborating with her partner Noah Baumbach on several films such as Frances Ha and Mistress America. In 2017, A24 released Gerwig's coming-of-age hit, Lady Bird.
I want to go where culture is, like New York, or at least Connecticut or New Hampshire, where writers live in the woods.
Get into those schools anyway.
Mom!
Lady Bird's feministic themes aren't as blatantly displayed as they are in Gerwig's second film, the 2019 adaptation of Little Women, but they're still there. There are no grand feminist speeches or outspoken activism about women's rights. Lady Bird is just a young woman who knows what she wants in life and won't let the environment she was born into, or the restrictions put on her because of it, hold her back.
Also, most movies about teenage girls, even though there are a lot of coming-of-age movies about boys where it's really about coming into your personhood, there's very few movies about girls doing that because it's mostly focused on one guy. And I felt like that's just not true as far as I can tell, that young woman's personhood is just as important. So I started with the premise of there's not going to be one guy, there's going to be two guys and they're both wrong.
The character Lady Bird is defined by herself, both metaphorically and literally, as she has chosen to go by a name that she created for herself rather than her given name, Christine.
It's given to me by me.
Lady Bird also differs from most coming-of-age films in that the pursuing of a heterosexual relationship isn't what the protagonist needs to be fulfilled. Lady Bird values her future and friendships over romantic endeavours.
You can't do anything unless you're the center of attention, can you? Yeah, well, you know your mom's tits, they're fake, totally fake. She made one bad decision at 19! Two bad decisions!
In a discussion with Financial Times about how Lady Bird differs from most teen films, Greta explains that those films typically revolve around one romantic interest. They inhabit a reality where there's one right person. But this is not the movie that Lady Bird is in, it's the movie she wishes she were in. She has all these romantic projections on her love interests. She believes he's supposed to die for her. I'm interested in the teenage fantasy life that comes from film, but that's not what's playing out here.
Over there, collapse a little bit closer, collapse that way. Go, yeah. Follow Serge. Lucas, get up. Follow her. Go left. Go left. And Lukey, come over to her. Come collapse. And kiss her.
Greta Gerwig is the first woman to be nominated for Best Director at the Oscars since 2010, when Kathryn Bigelow gained the title of being the only female director to ever win.
From among the 5 gifted nominees tonight, the winner could be, for the first time, a woman. And the winner is... well, the time has come. Kathryn Bigelow!
Nominated in 2018 for her original screenplay Lady Bird, Gerwig joins the small list of only 4 other women to ever be nominated.
These 4 men and Greta Gerwig created their own masterpieces this year. They are the nominees for Achievement in Directing.
Greta was overlooked for an Academy Award nomination for Best Director in 2020 for her 2019 adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. In December of 2019, Gerwig released the newest version of the classic story Little Women, with 16 other previous adaptations including 4 stage productions, 3 miniseries, 6 feature films, and even an anime series. Gerwig's version of the film clearly stands alone as its own piece of cinema. Compared to the 1994 film of the same name, there are quite a few distinctive differences between the two adaptations, the most prominent being the way the story was told. Before the latest, every film followed the original text timeline, but Gerwig used a non-linear form of telling the story. From doing this, it was more comfortable for the audience to accept that Laurie and Joe didn't end up together.
We've got to have it out.
No,
I have loved you ever since I've known you, Joe. I couldn't help it.
Because they were separated from the start. Laurie is shown trying to pursue Amy throughout the film in their adulthood. This also makes the story less about who the characters end up with and more about the sisters' lives and how they deal with the grief and hardships that life brings them. Gerwig also portrays Little Women's ending entirely different from the previous adaptations of the story. They all end virtually the same way. Friedrich proposes to Jo, she says yes. Following her acceptance, they smile, kiss each other, and the film ends.
I have nothing to give you but a full heart and empty hands.
But your hands aren't empty. They hold my full heart in them.
Thanks be to God. I have nothing to give but my heart, which is so full, and these empty hands.
Not empty now.
Oh, Joe.
But I have nothing to give you. My hands are empty.
Not empty now.
I've always found that this ending doesn't do the classic feminist story much justice. In my opinion, it takes away from the viewpoint that Jo had throughout the film.
I intend to make my own way in the world.
And makes it seem very pointless and insignificant.
She says the whole book that she doesn't want to marry.
And that women were worth a lot more than just being a wife.
And I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it.
But that's what this ending made her. We don't know that she became a world-famous writer or that she lived out any of her dreams. All we know is that she became a wife. This fairy tale ending implies that marriage was all Jo needed to be happy and satisfied in life. Both her aspirations and hardships were merely forgotten about. In Gerwig's adaptation, however, Jo doesn't marry Friedrich. She only does in her in-story novel because her publisher pressured her to write it that way.
I have nothing to give you, Joe.
It doesn't matter.
My hands are empty.
They're not empty.
I love it. It's romantic. It's very moving. That's very emotional.
Well, thank you.
We can call the chapter Under the Umbrella.
That's good.
Louisa May Alcott never married, and Gerwig imagines that she would have preferred the Jo she had originally written to follow that same path. But, like Gerwig had written it, she was told not to do so by her publishers and fans of the book.
The main character is a girl. Make sure she's married by the end. Or dead, either way.
In both Lady Bird and Little Women, the only protagonist is society and the world around the characters. Though not the film's focus, every person has their individual story and battles. It seems as if you can make a separate movie focused individually on each supporting character. This way of attention to character development makes Gerwig's work feel more natural and authentic than other work we've seen in films. The way in which the main characters of Gerwig's films eats has been viewed as a metaphor for taking charge of their lives. In an article by Vice, the symbolism of hunger in Lady Bird is brought up. Throughout the film, she eats in ways that makes a statement about control and desire. Lady Bird doesn't just consume food, she takes it. The same can be said about the March sisters, specifically Jo and Meg. When Meg eats, she does so carefully and elegantly. She wants to be a lady. On the other hand, Jo eats in a more masculine manner.
Joe, you might want to wait.
I'm famished.
She, like Lady Bird, takes the food and has complete control over it, as she does her future.
And I think that it's something that women are often made to feel like, well, don't say that out loud, don't say that you're ambitious, don't say that you want big things, you'll get punished for it, and it's not appealing, and boys don't like it.
One continuous theme shown throughout both of Gerwig's films is the central character's economic struggles, something that filmmakers tend to overlook. We always know the financial situations of the main characters and how it affects their everyday lives. In an article by the Document Journal, money was described as an actor in all of Gerwig's projects. In an interview with Financial Times, Greta mentions that Issues of class is really interesting to her, particularly the erosion of the middle class. In Lady Bird, there's a sense that all of the characters are looking up. They all want a different life. There's an undercurrent of anxiety for a lot of families in America right now. It's not background noise, it's in the foreground.
We didn't think we'd be in this house for 25 years. We thought we would have moved someplace better. Whatever we give you, it's never enough. It's never enough.
It is enough.
Do you have any idea what it costs to raise you and how much you're just throwing away every day?
Give me a number.
What?
Give me a number.
I don't understand.
You give me a number for how much it costs to raise me, and I'm gonna get older and make a lot of money and write you a check for what I owe you so that I never have to speak to you again.
Well, I highly doubt that you will be able to get a job good enough to do that.
All the relationships in Lady Bird are directly affected by the relevance of money. Lady Bird's best friend Julie, who lives in a small apartment with her single mother, is ditched for the wealthy and popular Jenna, who Lady Bird lies to in order to make herself seem rich to fit in. Lady Bird's first boyfriend Danny invites her to Thanksgiving at his grandmother's house, which happens to be Lady Bird's dream home. Her next romance, Kyle, who is very anti-capitalist and hates money, attends an expensive Catholic private school.
Also, I'm trying to, as much as possible, not participate in our economy. I don't like money, so I'm trying to live by bartering alone.
But doesn't Catholic school cost money?
Gerwig's Little Women discusses the March Sisters' economic position in society more than any other adaptation has.
I'm just a woman. And as a woman, there's no way for me to make my own money. Not enough to earn a living or to support my family. And if I had my own money, which I don't, that money would belong to my husband the moment we got married. And if we had children, they would be his, not mine. They would be his property. So don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is.
When I reread the book when I was an adult, when I was 30, when I came back to the text, I was shocked by how much of it was so incredibly modern and felt like it could have been written yesterday and was just flying off the page. It felt like it was all written in neon.
Both heroines of Gerwig's films are very determined young women transitioning into adulthood. They have a set vision of what they want for their future and won't let anything, or anyone, stop them from achieving their goals.